You know that feeling, right? You're trying to stay on top of things, maybe keep up with the news, understand all these complex issues,
Hmm.
but it just feels like you're, I don't know, drowning in this flood of information.
Yeah, completely.
Every headline, every soundbite, every quick summary promises to make you well-informed, but, well, often it leaves you feeling more overwhelmed than actually enlightened.
That's a really common feeling, I think.
So today we're taking a deep dive into something pretty intriguing, actually. It's an excerpt from a show called Game of Pages, where books and history collide.
Oh, yeah?
And it seems to promise something quite different from that usual relentless information stream.
Right. And what's fascinating here, I think, is how Game of Pages presents itself. It's pitched as a place where, and this is their phrase, the ink of the past meets the questions of today.
Hmm. Ink of the past meets questions of today.
I like that. Yeah. Their core idea really is to frame each exploration as a journey through the pages of powerful books and the echoes of the history around them.
Okay, so connecting the text in its time.
Exactly. It's about building this bridge, between the written word and the world that shaped it and, importantly, was shaped by it.
So our mission today, then, isn't just to tell you what Game of Pages does. It's more about unpacking why their specific method, this distinctive approach to exploring knowledge, might be really effective, especially for someone like you listening now who wants to be genuinely well-informed, but without feeling, completely swamped.
Right. Getting beyond the headlines.
Exactly. They explicitly state their aim is to offer something a little slower, a little deeper.
Which is quite countercultural right now.
It really is. It seems to be about appreciating how to engage with complex topics, maybe giving you a sort of shortcut to genuine understanding, not just facts.
Well, it's a compelling idea, isn't it? Especially when so much of what we consume daily is geared towards speed, towards brevity.
Quick summaries, yeah.
Exactly. Game of Pages seems to suggest that real understanding isn't about just like collecting a pile of facts.
Hmm.
It's more about connecting the ideas behind them. They seem to argue that by engaging with the original texts and really understanding their historical context, you're not just learning what happened, you're
Ah.
grasping why it mattered and maybe how it still resonates with us today.
Okay, so it encourages a different kind of thinking.
Yeah, a level of critical thinking, perhaps, that often gets lost in those quick, surface-level summaries we were talking about.
Okay, exactly. But, I mean, how do they actually do that? In a world that seems to crave instant gratification, how does a show like Game of Pages manage to hold your attention with something slower and deeper? What's their secret? How do they make that quiet conversation across centuries actually captivating?
That's a good question. I think their effectiveness probably lies in a really deliberate structure, one that moves beyond just giving you a simple summary. So imagine, for example, let's say Game of Pages decided to tackle Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Classic example.
Right. They wouldn't just give you the plot points, monster created, things go wrong.
Yeah, the basics we all kind of know.
Exactly. They'd likely start by immersing you, the listener, in the early 19th century scientific context. Think Luigi Galvani and his experiments with frogs' legs, this idea of animal electricity, or the sort of burgeoning understanding of anatomy at the time.
Ah, okay. So connecting the dots between the science that was actually happening then and Shelley's inspiration,
Mm,
that's a powerful way to put the novel right into its historical moment, isn't it?
precisely. And then they'd probably explore the cultural anxieties of that period.
Like what?
Well, the rapid pace of scientific discovery,
Yeah.
the fears maybe of playing God, the big philosophical debates around what even constitutes life or humanity.
Hmm.
They might bring in, say, contemporary philosophical text or look at public reactions to scientific advancements back then. So, the monster's isolation, for instance, it isn't just a literary device in their view. It reflects real societal fears about otherness, about the consequences of unchecked ambition, especially in an age grappling with the, let's say, the darker side of the Enlightenment.
Wow. Yeah.
Mhm.
That immediately makes Frankenstein feel so much richer than just a simple horror story.
Hmm.
It really becomes like a mirror reflecting its time.
Exactly.
But how does that connect back to today? Because that's part of their promise, right?
Yeah.
Where the ink of the past meets the questions of today.
Right, and that's, I think, where the real power of their method clicks in. After grounding the work firmly in its original context,
Hmm.
they then build that bridge to modern questions. So for Frankenstein, that might involve a deep dive into, say, the ethical dilemmas swirling around artificial intelligence now,
Ah, okay. Obvious parallel.
or genetic engineering, maybe even the creation of synthetic life. They
Right.
could draw parallels between Victor Frankenstein's abandonment of his creation and our contemporary discussions about accountability in tech development. Who's responsible when AI goes wrong, for example?
So the real nugget here, the takeaway for the listener, isn't just a random fact about 19th century science. It's the revelation that the anxieties Shelley was exploring back in 1818.
Hmm.
They're still profoundly relevant to our debates around AI and biotechnology right now.
Exactly. It shows how well, it literally informs the present. It's not just dead history.
Right.
It's about demonstrating the enduring relevance of these powerful books. They invite you to see Frankenstein not just as some static historical artifact collecting dust on a shelf,
Mm.
but as a living, breathing commentary on fundamental human questions that, well, they transcend time. This isn't just literary analysis for its own sake. It's about using literature as a lens, really, to understand historical forces and our current societal challenges.
But you're left not just knowing the book better.
Right. You're understanding how it shaped and maybe continues to shape our world.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. What does this all mean for someone listening, someone who's looking to genuinely understand rather than just, collect facts?
Wow.
It sounds like Game of Pages really carves out a specific niche, a space for those seeking maybe reflection and depth.
I think so, yeah.
They aim to explore, and I'm quoting them again here, ideas that shaped civilizations, revolutions, and minds, one book at a time. And you, the listener, you're invited for reflection, depth, and a quiet conversation across centuries. It feels like a definite move beyond the quick takes, the surface level stuff, which is frankly quite a rare find today.
It really is. And their whole philosophy seems to encourage that critical thinking we mentioned. They even suggest that you, quote, might leave with more questions than answers, and that's a good thing.
That's interesting. More questions being a good thing.
Yeah. It connects to this broader idea, doesn't it? That true understanding often comes from really grappling, engaging deeply with the source material itself, even when, as they put it, it's not always pretty, not always simple.
Embracing the complexity?
Exactly. It's a call to embrace that complexity. So their conclusion is quite powerful. Every page is a move, every book, a strategy, and every story, a part of who we are.
Wow.
It really encourages you, I think, to consider this ongoing journey of discovery and maybe the value of genuinely challenging how you see the world based on these deeper engagement